Hello, screenwriters, and welcome to Writing for Screens, the Screenwriting Step-by-Step Project, Volume 68, Chapter 68, Number 68 here. I am Glenn Gers. I am writing for screens. I am coming to you every weekday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, if I can, to walk you through my experience of writing a pilot script for a TV drama series, starting with just a rough idea and going all the way through the outline, and then the rough draft and the final draft, finished draft, the first draft, whatever you want to call it, letting you look over my shoulder so that you can see how it's done by me. Not the only way to do it, but at least it's somebody showing you how they do it. I'm sure every single writer has their own process. You should find your own process. I'm just showing you mine because I have worked in this business for 25 years, and therefore I have had some experience with getting a script done. And I just wanted to show you how I do it, in the hope that you can use some of this material. So with that routine boilerplate filling up a little bit of time while people join in live, and also to introduce, if you're coming into this on 68, which you can, you do not have to watch them all. Good Lord, no. Drop in, try one, try another, skip some, does not matter. It's just a question of getting a sense of how the work process goes for me. Not because I'm in any way special or a good example. I'm just the only one around who feels like doing this. So I'm doing it. Hello, 99 Precinct. Hello, Double Naught. Hi. We are going to get back to that scene that we were doing yesterday. This is a really good example of what happens when you do not outline carefully. And I say that because not like critically, like, oh, you shouldn't do that. It's okay to do this process. It works fine. But it's a little scary if you haven't done it before. I have done it enough times that when I hit this roadblock where I had a scene, there were too many things that could happen and I wasn't sure which was most important and what order and how they happened. I didn't panic. I went back to the outline and started to hammer together some ideas about what is the priority, what is the purpose of this scene. And now I can go back and start to actually craft the rough draft of the scene. And that is what we are going to do now. What I did was here in the outline, I streamlined a little bit of what we did yesterday so that it was more readable. And as I was doing that, I just like made this a little more readable. So it's like, this is the point of her in the scene. At this moment, this is the thing I need to accomplish. This is the thing I need to get across to you guys. And let me just see if I have here. Yeah. This is a question I ask a lot. And so I am offering it to you because when you feel like you don't know how to write a scene, this scene helps. This question helps. I came up with the answer of, this is the first thing I need the audience to experience, to know, to say, this is what's happening right now. And then I thought, well, I know that she needs to talk to people in order to express this stuff, to let it out. She can talk to her people in her office on the phone. She can talk to the delivery guy, who I have added in here, part 2. Or at a certain point, she talks to George, because even though he is dead, sometimes we do that. We talk to the dead. And so what I realized is, and this is why I asked the question, is this in the right order? I originally had it work call, then the delivery guy shows up, then she's ranting at George alone in the house, and then she stumbles on George's drugs and takes them. I did that out of, you think whatever logic you're thinking at the moment seems right, but the truth is, um, it's not. The thing I was afraid of was the cliche of having her find the drugs, take the drugs, become uninhibited, and rant to George. That she would talk to the dead when she had been loosened up a bit with George's pot. And I thought, oh, that's so cliche. It's so obvious. And sometimes you should just be obvious. Sometimes the obvious thing is obvious because it's clearly right. So that is what I'm going to do. I am going to change the order to, we just see her sitting in silence and then searching in silence. Then she gets a call from work and takes them. And then she talks to work, and then she finds the drugs. Oh, I left out the delivery guy. Now the question is, does the delivery guy come? See, I think the delivery guy should interrupt. Interrupted by the delivery guy. Then she finds the drugs, and then she rants at George. It is, in fact, the logic of behavior. It makes more sense. It's also an awful lot to have in the scene, so I don't have to worry about having a lot in each of these sections. There's now 5 steps in this sequence. It's really a sequence at this point, because although we are staying in the same place, we are going to jump time, and that makes it different scenes. But my point was that I thought was, the purpose of talking to the people at work is that she is going to, she's expressing her resistance to feeling. She's to caring, to getting involved, because that is what this scene is about at the beginning. So we see her sitting in silence. She does not want to let in her feelings. Then she gets a call from work, and she says she's leaving, which is this section here. Because the point is, we start in silence. We don't know what she's feeling. We suspect she is suffering, but she will not let us see it. She will not let herself feel it. Then there's the call tries to wake her up, drag her back to life, and she expresses a complicated denial. She's saying, yeah, I'm going to be right back. But in fact, what has she been doing sitting there? If she's going to just people come and box up all the stuff, why is she even still there? On that question of why she is still there, no good answer. Saved. Interrupted by the delivery guy. Now the delivery guy okay. And I just came up with some dialogue with the delivery guy to try and get, because I was thinking, what is the purpose of this delivery guy dialogue? It's there's a lot of bits you can do, but really, why am I adding a person here? And the answer is because she has to sort of defend against what it looks like to others. And that's really what I was thinking, was that he's this young kid and he doesn't know anything. And so I'm going to put this dialogue in, but basically, he's like saying, you must be, and she's like, I'm not. I haven't seen him in 30 years. I'm not. What she thinks he's going to say is, you must be upset. This is terrible. And then he says pissed, as in, you must be pissed because if you haven't seen him in 30 years, this is a pretty crappy thing to have dumped on you. And then she's like, yes. and she talks about that, and he joins in. Anyway, so we will get to that. Then she finds the drugs and take them. And this is where I am not sure how this is going to work. So this is the next step of uncertainty. And she rants at George. Okay, so now I have a rough outline of this scene and I can start writing it. Okay, so let's go to the text. Okay, so we're going to go back here. Yes, actually, it would be funny. The thing is, that sort of contradicts the tightness I have. I want her to be feeling. I think she needs to do that later. She needs to do that with the important thing to remember when you're planning a script is that you can't. Sometimes you have a good bit, but you give it away too early. This guy is not important, and we have not felt the pressure building, the mystery of what's she going to do? How is she going to react? And so I think that comes out later with Norman. He's more important. There's more to be discovered if she is letting loose to the ghost of George and then to Norman. And frankly, in the course of however many episodes, 7, 8, 9, 10, that we're going to do of this, that's an important thing to remember. When you are writing a series, sometimes you are setting a situation up that will not pay off until 4, 5, 6 episodes down the road. If we want Madeline to be going through a change of her inner psyche, we don't want it all happen in the first few scenes of the first episode. We want to set up a woman who has a seemingly solid shell and then watch that crack and watch it, and you think, what's going to happen when it breaks? And that's not going to happen for a while. That's the course of the however many episodes we're doing. So you have to sort of keep in mind the structure of the whole season or the whole series when you establish character stuff and resolve it. So anyway, that is actually a great scene, but it's a scene that would then take away the ability to have that scene happen later. All right. So. I have changed. The original idea I had here was that she had a lot to do, that she was stuck there because she had paperwork to do. But the truth is that she doesn't, and that the idea that she has simply sat there as. Actually, this is interesting. How about this? Let's see. Is it possible? Because Norman is going to try to reach her. And it could be cool if he tries and she doesn't pick up. But that would give us a chance to see her. Okay, that's a possibility. That means that he would. So this now gets cut. So I've got this idea. I don't know. Okay, so Norman gets home. I think what I'm going to do here what I'm thinking is it's not that hard to find people's phone numbers. You know, unless it's unlisted or stuff. There are actually websites where you could, essentially the yellow pages. I'm just roughing in an idea for a scene. Okay, so the idea is just that she doesn't answer his phone. Now, here's the question. Would he leave a voicemail? And if so, what would he say? Hello, hello, this is Kitschy. Good to see ya. Would he leave a voicemail? I'm going to leave that as a question. Would he leave a voicemail? And what would he say? Hi, you don't know I'm I can't remember Lauren's last name. Oh, right. Merch. Frustrated. To the corporate website, scrolls down. Okay, so I'm going to have to go back and clean this up at some point. Move that voicemail into Norman's side of the scene. Okay, so you see what I did here? I just wanted to, what I really wanted was to get a moment when we see Madeline not doing anything. Because that is an action. In certain cases, not taking an action is an action. That is a legitimate action. If someone is unable to or refusing to move, for instance, that's an action. If she is basically being partly paralyzed by her attempts to struggle with her emotions, that's cool. We can have a beat of that. Doesn't, you know, it's not going to be long. The fact is there's a lot of power and impact to watching someone sit there and struggle with their emotions. That can be a good scene, even though nothing's happening. In this case, she is doing something. She is struggling with her desire to leave versus her desire to deal with George, and then she is ignoring the phone call. That seems like a weird action, but it's a very specific action. To decide not to take a call is a specific action, and it reveals a lot. So that means so now I believe earlier I had some beets, not the vegetable. And not sure what I'm going to do about this. So right now I'm just going to leave it here in the work call. So now I've got these bits of her just walking around. And what I'm going to do is just take those and cut them from that place and put them back up here so that, so now what's happening is we see Norman head out. He's driving for her. And at the same time, we see her now meditating on the loss in some way. She's walking through the house, turning on lights, looking at stuff. I'll get better at that later on, but right now, we have now found a way to express her stuckness, her struggle with the loss, and I like doing it this way. It's nice. Sometimes it's good not to have it be dialogue. Sometimes it's good to have people talk things out, but sometimes just taking an action lets the audience get engaged. When people have to work a little, when they have to interpret or feel uncertain about something, they are more involved in the story. You don't want to just lay everything out for them so they can just go, oh, I got that. Okay, I see. So, so down the line, I will make these more better. More better. Thank you, Spike Lee. More better blues is what I'm talking about there, in case you didn't know. Okay, so, okay, so then she gets a work phone call. Her phone rings. It scares her. Let's remember this is a thriller. I have this is in fact going to be another section of the scene. I haven't figured out. I'm just trying to get down the roughest rough of it. So now I can take this stuff here, right, and I can move it, which it's not right, but it's a good placeholder of Madeline talking to work. Okay, now we have that. And now we can have her get to a place. I believe what I said was, okay, so right now, morning, we see her sitting in silence, searching in silence, right? Gets a call. Right. By the way, this is unlikely to stay her greeting to work people. No, I'm still there. Yeah. No, I'm still there. Yeah. It's a whole house, whole life. Not my life. I don't know what to do with it. This is probate. I don't know. What the hell is probate? I don't know. Town I've never been to before. Let's make this dialogue like it was. Good. Okay. So now what I'm doing is just brainstorming bits of dialogue, but the purpose of this dialogue is to say, and I believe this is in the outline. Hold on. Okay. No, tomorrow. Yeah, definitely. I can't let this take over my whole life. Okay. So some of this is going to contradict what I've got here, but what I'm doing is just trying to get some rough ideas down so that I can look at it later and shape it. She says she's leaving. Okay, so paperwork to fill out. So she's lying. That's great. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm leaving soon. I just had a lot of paperwork to fill out and people to talk to. Yeah, I like that. I like that she's, okay, that's good. Because she hasn't been doing anything. She's been sitting there. And that's revealing of her emotional conflict. Okay, so boop, boop. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not. Now, obviously, these awkward little linelets will eventually become good dialogue, but right now I'm just trying to, you brainstorm, you throw down, you don't criticize your own thoughts when you're brainstorming. When you are just letting things flow out, let them flow out, because you never know what will come if you don't overthink it and say, oh, I need this, that's no good. I know it's no good. That's okay. You're allowed to be no good when you're being creative. That's what creative is. A little bit of no good, and then now and then you get the good things. And then you cut out the no good things, and you got it. That's how we write. Not quite caught up with this series yet. That's okay. You don't have to do every single one. I mean, I love if you want to do every single one, but don't worry. Thank you, Charlie. That's so cool. Just wanted to give my support. That is so freaking nice. Thank you. You can get here. You can watch now. It's not like there's spoilers. It's not gonna ruin anything if you do this and then catch up when you can. You're always welcome. That's the point, you guys. You're always welcome. Okay, so now we have to get to the part where, okay. She has to have an awkward question asked of her, so the doorbell is a relief. I'm just going to put that here. Boop, boop. I'm going to spell awkward right for those of you who care about spelling. Although honestly, when you're doing this, spelling, if you get a rough idea of what the word is, that's fine. All right. Now, now I'm going to get, okay, I already had the scene started, and I am going to leave that, although it may not segue perfectly into the, okay. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take all of this because it's just it just was nice dialogue, I felt, and it's my script, so I'm allowed to say it's nice. Okay, there we do. We're cutting this and we're putting it here. Now, you're saying, what the heck? I know. Okay. Let's make this, you know what? Let's make this all dialogue, because that's what it is. It was dialogue. And then we do this. Boop, boop. Kyle, boom. Madeline, boop. Kyle. Oh, wow. And then boop. Boop. Madeline. This is the fun part. No, seriously. When I get done, you're going to go, oh, I see what you're doing. Okay. This is what happens when you write notes. I wrote notes earlier this afternoon. I was like, what am I going to talk about today? And I looked at this, and a bit of dialogue, like an exchange, the way they talked, popped into my head. I quickly typed it out. I didn't bother to type anyone's name because I knew, and I didn't type it in dialogue form. So now I'm just putting it in dialogue form. Okay. So let me just run this for you so you don't say, God, I'm bored. Okay. So Kyle says, are you his mom? Because first of all, Kyle doesn't know that much about George. I decided there wasn't any value to Kyle telling her about George. It was more fun if she tells about her George, because there was a possibility that this scene could go either way. It could be about Madeline getting information about George, but I thought, you know what? It's more important right now that we get to Madeline. It's about Madeline. So I like the idea of this kid, this 19-year-old delivery guy, and he sees Madeline. She's like 50, and he says, are you his mom? And that's just like not happy. So she says, ex-wife. Oh, wow, you must be. I'm not. I haven't seen him in 30 years. Pissed. Oh, no, maybe. No, I'm not. This is just not my life. And he left you with all this. Left you with all this to deal with? I'll figure out a phrase for that. Then she says, that's what he was like. Chaos. Chaos in cheap sneakers. And then when she hears herself having said that phrase, she goes, album title. And he's like, what? And Madeline says, it's what he used to say all the time when some phrase was, when somebody said some phrase they didn't realize was cool. That's an album title. And Kyle says, like a photo album? Because Kyle doesn't know what an album is. Because he's young and albums are old. Okay, and with that, I think I'm going to stop for now. I have a lot yet to figure out, but at least I have gotten this hunk of it started. All right. I can take out this question. Okay, look, we have gotten things down, and we're now down to the accidentally finds drugs and taken, which I don't know. How does this actually happen? And that question is the question I'm going to leave myself for next session. Now, you guys should know. Oh, you definitely should not know that. I didn't realize that was going to happen. I believe I have an appointment next week on next Monday afternoon. So I will not be here Monday afternoon. I will be here Tuesday. So for those of you who are watching live and want to be watching live next week, I don't think I'm going to be here Monday, but I appreciate your being here. It was fun to work through another section of the scene. And that's how you do it. You plod through, you work each scene piece by piece, and eventually you've got a really strong scene with a lot of motion to it, which is, although it may seem like forever to get this one scene done, this scene is actually like 5 or 6 scenelets in one scene, one sequence. And so it takes some work. And so that's it. I'm gonna stop for now. I will see you, I think, on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, and be well, be safe.